Hello, I'm Jono White from Clarity, and I want to talk to you today about intentionality and consistency in leadership. Why being intentional and consistent are two keys to being an effective leader in 2021. Well, let's talk first about intentionality. John Maxwell is the one who speaks about this idea of the importance of being intentional and consistent as a leader. And he basically says, if you can be intentional and consistent as a leader, particularly in personal leadership, I think he's talking about, then that will make a massive difference to your journey as a leader, and you're much more likely to be successful. What do we mean by being intentional? Well, let's flip it around and say, okay, when it comes to being intentional as a leader, what does it mean to be unintentional? And I love this story by Patrick Lencioni that he shares in one of his books. I think he shares it in it must be in The Advantage. He talks about this idea of accidental company values. Accidental company values are values that you didn't plan on as a company. They're not core, they're not aspirational values, they're not permission to play, bottom line values. They're actually accidental, and you may not want to keep them. He tells this story of a fashion business. And the CEO of this fashion business worked with Lencioni's consultants when they were just starting out. But many years later, they've come back. The consultants have come back to them. They've grown. And as they're walking and they look around and they realize, wow, everyone here is 25 to 35 years old, hipster, denim. Like, there's a very specific demographic. And they think, well, that's interesting. The workforce, they've really focused in on a particular demographic. So they're sitting down with the CEO and they're talking about everything, and they say, oh, by the way, we noticed that you've really focused in on this demographic in your HR, which is this 25 to 35-year-old hipster wearing, denim wearing hipster. And the CEO sort of looks around, and it's clear that the CEO didn't actually realize this was the thing. But as he stops there and sits, he goes, you know what, you're right. So they then have this conversation about, okay, well, why is this a thing? And as they have this conversation, they realize there is an accidental value that's crept into this fashion business to only hire 25 to 35-year-old denim-wearing hipsters. And they make a decision, for the best of the business, they need to actually be hiring a demographic of a mix, people of a different age, people of a different experience, people of different interests for the best of their brand. Now, if that was an intentional decision, sure, but it was unintentional. So I want to give you one big idea in your leadership. How can you be more intentional in your leadership? And it's the idea of a stop doing list. You've heard of a to-do list. We all write to-do lists. But I want to encourage you, for yourself as a leader, for your team, maybe even across your organization, why don't you write a stop doing list? And on this list, put lots of different things up, and I want you to look at them through the filter of intentionality. Okay, is this something that we are intentionally doing, or we intentionally decided to do? Yes or no? And is it something that we intentionally want to do now? Sort of two things. Is this something that we intentionally, to start with, decided to do, or is it something that's unintentionally crept in? And is it something that we want to do intentionally now? The reason you look at both of those filters is that sometimes you run into your accidental 25 to 35-year-old denim-wearing hipster value, and you go, this is unintentional. We need to change that. Other times, you made a decision and it was intentional a year ago. And when you now look at that decision or that initiative or that project, you go, you know what, if we were going to look at this now, and another good question, I can't remember where I've heard it before, but I love this idea that is not my idea. It comes from another leadership author. I just can't remember who says it, but it's this idea of saying, okay, if we were making a decision now, would we do that? If we were choosing a project to launch today, is this a project we would launch? It's a great question to ask. And so with your stop doing list, look at all the things you're doing and say, okay, was it intentional? Was it ever intentional? And is it something we'd intentionally do again or do right now today? And then the other filters that you want to look through is look through the filters of your vision and mission. The story, the founding story of your organization, the purpose, the why. Look at your organizational values. One of my values at Clarity is speaking well of others. So if I'm looking at something, I'm always looking at it through the lens of, is this speaking well of others? And that's one of the reasons I love the 7 questions, is because it's a way for me it's a project that I do helping leaders to encourage one another, where leaders answer 7 questions on leadership and we then publish it. And one of the reasons I was drawn to that is I looked at it through the filter of speaking well of others. And I went, this is actually a really powerful way that I can encourage people in their leadership and speak well of them through this process, but it will also encourage others. So use your values. Also use your strategies. Use your strategic anchors. What are the big strategies you're running with, your strategic plan? Look at everything you're doing. And with your stop doing list, in terms of intentionality, it might be for you personally. In your schedule, you might write a stop doing list. What would it look like to stop doing one of these 50 things or 3 of these 50 things? And once you look at it through all these lenses, occasionally you will see something and you go, I reckon we could stop doing that, because we're going to be really intentional about what we are doing and about what we're not doing. So being intentional. But I mentioned 2 keys. We're talking about how why being intentional and consistent as a leader are 2 of the keys to effective leadership. So the second one is consistency. So consistency is this idea of chipping away. Consistency is this idea of just, when it comes to being a runner, one of the things I'm doing at the moment, I'm trying out the 0 or the Couch to 10K app. Shout out to those guys. I love that app. And the reason I love it is because I'm able to chip away. It's about consistency. I have a tendency to just want to get out and run 10 kilometers and just smash it. But that's why I don't run as often as I would like to, because I have that daunting big goal hanging over me. What I can do is get out, go for a walk for 5 minutes to warm up, run for 5 minutes, walk for 2 minutes. And that's why I love that app. It just gives me a structure to it. And it's the same as a leader. It's the same in your personal leadership. It's the same in your team leadership. It's the same organizationally. Consistency beats one-off ideas. And I love, and anyone who works with me knows I talk about this a lot. One of my favorite ideas of recent years is one of Jim Collins' books. He has this book, part of his Good to Great sort of series, but it's the book where he talks about organizations that are in really tumultuous industries. And he talks about this idea of firing bullets, not cannonballs. Firing bullets, not cannonballs. And I love this idea around consistency, and I'll get to how it connects in a moment. But he uses this metaphor, and it's from his people. They do amazing research. They look at all these companies and they narrow it down to the ones that just overperformed consistently in their industry and dominated. And they go, what is it these guys have in common with each other that others don't? And so they look at that. One of the things they realized about these companies that dominate these tumultuous industries is that the ones that weren't successful had a tendency, if you think of this metaphor, which is what he uses, you're on a warship and you see another warship coming. So it's like you see a challenge, or you see a problem, or you see whatever on the horizon, right? And the other warship's coming and they go, oh my goodness, we've got to address this. Launch the cannonballs, and they just get their cannonballs. Maybe they've got 100 of them and they just put them in and they fire. One misses by 100 meters. Quickly, put it in, fire. It's getting closer. It's missing 70 meters, 50 meters. And finally, one nearly hits, and then a couple hit, and then they're out of cannonballs. And what happens is they get absolutely blown away by this other ship because they just shot cannonballs. Jim Collins and his team, they looked at the really successful companies that dominated over time, right, in these tumultuous industries. And what they found when they looked at these companies is that they wouldn't shoot their cannonballs. What they would do is they'd shoot bullets. So they would see this ship off in the distance, right? There's always something on the horizon you're worried about and concerned about, and we need to actually do something about this. And so they'd load up, instead of loading up their 100 cannonballs, they'd start by, maybe they have 1,000 bullets. And they'd load up the bullets and they'd shoot. Okay, we missed by 100 meters. And they'd shoot 10, 20, 50 bullets. Okay, we've got the range. We've got the direction. We know what the wind's doing. And we've hit the ship now 5 times in a row. And then they would get their 100 cannonballs. Once they had shot all these bullets and worked out exactly where they needed to aim, they'd then load up their cannonballs, and every one of them that they fired would hit the ship and would take it out. And they would end up being incredibly effective and efficient in their use of cannonballs. And I love this idea of firing bullets. How does that link back to consistency? Well, in your life, are you a cannonball shooter? Let's load it up. Or are you a person who fires bullets and then, based on testing that, fires cannonballs? I find people tend to be one or the other. We tend to and not combine them. And my challenge to you is to combine them. That's where consistency is so powerful. people tend to either be big idea, and this is what he talked about, $1 billion companies where CEOs would go, new $1 billion initiative, fire these massive cannonballs, and they miss. And the whole company blows up, right? Or where we just shoot bullets and we never move on to cannonballs. We're shooting all these bullets and trying it out. My encouragement to you as a leader is to combine them. Shoot your bullets until you find something where you hit it and you go, whoa, okay, that worked. I've shot 20 bullets, this one hit. Shoot a couple more. Yes, this is legit. This is actually working. Then the question is, how can you then load up the cannonballs? So consistency is about consistently shooting bullets. And so I would challenge you as a leader, if you're not trying anything new this year, why not? Consistently try new things. But we don't have to pour all of our resources into it. On a scale, maybe 90% is on the cannonballs that are already proven and 10% is on your bullets. But what you're doing when you're firing bullets and trying things, you've got to go in with a celebrate failure mentality, whether it's in your personal leadership, whether it's in your team leadership, in your organizational leadership. A celebrate failure mentality means we're going to shoot 10 bullets and 9 of them are probably going to miss. And that's not just okay, that's awesome. Because the only way we're going to find the cannonball, that's going to take us to the next level is by shooting bullets and missing. So come on, team. Let's shoot some bullets and let's try it, and let's consistently try new things. Now, once you're consistently trying new things but not over-resourcing them, you're going to start seeing, whoa, okay, there's something in this, not that, not that, not that. Come back to intentional, right? Not this, not that, and zoom in on this and go, okay, what do we reckon? Personal leadership, team leadership, organizationally, let's go big on this. And then you pour new cannonballs into that. And so what it might look like is in a year, 2 years, something you're just shooting bullets at today, suddenly you're shooting cannonballs at that thing in a couple of years, and it's taken your organization to another level. How did you get there? Because you were consistent. It wasn't just about trying one-off things, it was about consistently trying new things. That's the big thing for me at the moment when it comes to consistency, is consistently trying new things, consistently failing. I hate failing. I know no one probably likes failing, but I struggle to fail, but I'm learning and growing and I think it's helped me to have this strategy, and I hope it helps you to go, you know what, I'm going to purposefully try 10 things and know that 9 of them probably won't work, and that's okay. In fact, that's the point. So fire bullets, be consistent in that, and then when you see something that definitely works and it's tested and it's tried and you go, well, that is working, then load up your cannonballs. And so once again, what's the whole point of what we're talking about? Intentional and consistent. The why being intentional and consistent are 2 keys for you to be an effective leader. I hope that's been helpful. And you can check out more videos at consultclarity.org. I'm John O'White, and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a great day.